Hi everyone and welcome back to another episode of Dan Studios, where we bring you the latest news in a short and informative format, and of course in the comfort of a studio. Now, in order to comply with the government's wishes, we here at Dan Studios have decided to self-isolate and to continue to work from home, which is why, as everybody can see, we are still in my living room and not back in the studio. Now, for those who love traveling, or for those who is still currently out traveling when in fact you should be at home social distancing, I have some terrible news for you. If you live in the state of New South Wales, well, it's probably not the best time to come home. International travelers from July 18th, if you choose to fly into New South Wales, you will have to pay $3,000. That's right. $3,000 for a 2-week mandatory quarantine in hotels, no matter where you ordinarily reside in Australia. Now, the reasoning for this, as the State Premier of New South Wales explains, is that the decision to charge all returning travellers, including Australian citizens, came after the National Cabinet announced caps on the number of people that are allowed to arrive in Australia. She says, and I quote, "Australian citizens have been given plenty of time to return home, and we feel it is only fair that they cover some of the costs of their hotel accommodation."
If you have family overseas still planning on coming home due to the pandemic, it will come at a cost. Premier Gladys Berejiklian plans to start charging return travellers for hotel quarantine, convinced they've had enough time to fly back. Chris O'Keefe explains.
Since the start of the pandemic, there's been around 75,000 Australian citizens and residents return home. Sydney has taken almost 40,000 of them, more than double the number of Melbourne, and far more than every other state and territory. 500 New South Wales police and 150 soldiers are stationed at hotels around the city every single day. It's not just a giant drain on resources, but it costs us, the taxpayer, a fortune.
Now, it's time for me to vent a little about this issue. Now, I can see where the government is coming from. I can see the angle in which the government is trying to take. Obviously, having to accommodate all of those people returning from overseas travels, especially with the quantity of people arriving in the state of New South Wales, it is going to cost a lot of money for the government, and also they may not have that many spaces in their hotels to accommodate all of those people. But the mandatory 14-day hotel quarantine was the government's idea. So personally, I do think that the government should take some sort of financial responsibility for those who have to participate or partake in the 14 days of quarantine. Now, obviously, being in the hotel quarantine is the best thing available, is the best thing that people should do to avoid the spread of COVID-19. But having to force them to pay to do this quarantine, I think it's a bit over the top, especially $3,000. Now, I get that, yes, these travelers have had 4 months to return home. And yes, that has been a very long time. I understand the concept of 4 months, but there are different circumstances in which these travelers are able to return. So we have to take that into consideration as well, because maybe in those 4 months, they couldn't get a single flight back to Australia, or they were stuck in their own quarantine in their own country, or whatever the reasoning. I don't know behind it. I know some people are stuck overseas and they have prior business there where it seems impossible for them to come back, and now they have to pay, which is a bit too much. Now, I'm not trying to say that the government should take full responsibility of the quarantine, because then that would be really unfair to the government. But maybe perhaps you don't force these people to fork out $3,000, which, by the way, is a lot of money just for trying to come home. Because is that really that super welcoming? Is that really that super welcoming? I'm sure if you're stuck in a country abroad and all you want to do is come home, you've probably spent $1,000 to $2,000 just on flights and probably accommodation, because you're unable to come back, just to get on more flights, just to get your flight cancelled and have to book another flight. You probably spent a lot of money doing that. And then now you add on another $3,000 to do a hotel quarantine in your own home, in your own home country that you don't want to do, and you can't even get to go to your own home. That's a little bit stiff. Now, I'm not trying to force the government into doing anything because I have zero say. The government's not going to listen to a little YouTuber trying to voice his opinion. I'm just saying, as a personal thought, I think this is a bit unfair. I don't personally agree with making them fork out $3,000. I know it's a little bit harsh on taxpayers and the government to keep forking in money for people to stay at these quarantines. But I mean, it is a really gray area as to you don't really know what the best path we should take. You know, maybe you can just continue to go back to giving them into their home quarantine, or maybe reduce the price from $3,000. I reckon reduce it from $3,000 might be a bit better, because $3,000 is a lot of money for people who don't want to stay in a 14-day hotel. And you don't even get the luxury of staying in the hotel. You're trapped in your room. You don't even get to go outside and explore anything. So as a constant reminder, I would like to continue to remind everyone that the coronavirus is still a very, very serious issue. We should be complying with what the government is asking us, as social distancing continues to prove to be the best weapon we have against this disease that is currently going around. We need to be understanding the next couple of months are going to be tough. For those who are living in the state of Victoria, we understand that we are in lockdown right now and we don't have a lot of options or wiggle room into what we can do. So we definitely should be, holding strong, keeping that positive attitude, because we're Melburnians, man. We can fight through any type of small hurdle that puts in our way. We just jump on over it. Now, be sure to avoid crowded areas. Maintain a good level of hygiene. Always wash your hands, hand sanitize your hands no matter what you touch. Government is now finally suggesting those to wear face masks when you go outside. I know I definitely will be wearing a face mask. I'm hoping everyone out there is also wearing a face mask just to prevent any sort of spread. Now, please remember to subscribe, punch that like button, and share our content, as we know it's a tough time for everyone. Here at Dance Studios, we want to continue to prove and give everyone great content, as well as keeping them updated on the latest news and the current affairs that's going around the world. Now, please leave a comment in the comment section below letting us know if you think the $3,000 mandatory hotel quarantine is a bit overrated, and that, maybe you can leave your suggestions in the comment section below and we can go through it next time. I'm your host, Dan. I'll see you guys next time. Have a lovely week. Bye-bye.